Welcome back to the channel. I'm Crypto Trend Trader, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin on the Kraken chart. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. We're going to start off here on the Kraken 4-hour chart. This is the same one we had from yesterday. We were talking about bouncing around inside this range, and we had essentially broken through the bottom of this upward sloping support with the green line here. We did actually get a move back up above it. Started coming back up, but we did sell off again. But we are on top of that green support line again. So, you know, at this point in time, depending how this close is here, we're getting ready for the 4-hour close. We got about 33 minutes left. Depending how that looks here, we could get potentially a little bit more of continuation up here. But again, we're not seeing much strength off of this for it to be like confirmed bottom. But if we did get a move back up here towards the top of the range, we could say that's our third consecutive higher low. So it's not necessarily on the shorter time frames looking too bad. Even though this looks like the candle configuration, like pattern here, looks toppy to me. We basically got like a big wick up and then rejection. So depending if we come down here and continue to find support on this 4-hour sell-off, or if it continues to sell off, we get a better idea like what we can actually expect to happen from it. So let's switch over to the longer time frame now. Let me take a look at the daily, and you'll see we're basically moving around inside that channel we had talked about on the longer time frames. But you'll see now with the indicator, we're getting that cross back now between the blue and the purple now. The blue is crossed underneath here. So essentially what we would expect here is some kind of reaction, like attempt to save it with the red, like the little knife point here. Just like we're seeing right there, similar signature, or like here. But we would expect some kind of reaction attempt to stop those two things from crossing, like a situation like this, but then you get the follow through. So now with this, if this follow through does come through here, we'll essentially get like continuation through the downside. And you could see we could consolidate here, just like what happened here when it crossed over. It basically like sold off a little, got a decent little sell off and got bought back up. Give you like a little bit of confidence that might be like a reversal, and then it just continued to sell off and just dump straight down after that. So you could expect, you know, judging by that similar signature, what could happen here is we essentially tried to push up here, we come down to the bottom, and then we attempt to stop that cross from taking place and find support here again. That support gets sold off. You see on like the daily, that looks much more like an indecision candle here in green. And then you see we do in fact get like the cross and then continuation to the downside, you know, and then we could realize some of our downside targets, either the double bottom or continuation to you know, to lower prices to one of these other fib labs we have talked about here. Yeah, so one other thing I want to pull up here, and it's been a little while since we took a look at it, but it's actually like the fib circle. So basically it's drawn the same way as the Fibonacci. You take the bottom point down here, and then you can go to the top point here, and you'll see these fib circles will give you essentially like a time to Fibonacci like analysis. It allows you to get like a third dimension kind of look at just the Fibonacci retracements, because it gives you potential time targets where you would get a reaction as well. So you'll see the one from the bottom here is not really relevant at this time, but when we hit the previous one here, we literally had topped out right at it, sold down, found support, and then continue to sell off from that point. So when it comes to this point here, we may get a strong reaction as well. Now let's go ahead and do one from the top right here down to the bottom here. Oh, and I do want to change this one over. We're going to make that one blue, and then we're going to make, you'll see again, we're coming close to it. We got like right here, started selling off from that point, and then it literally just came down, busted straight through that one, and then we've been cruising, and now here we are coming right up to it, and we basically came down, touched it, found support, came down, touched it, found support. So we could potentially get like a push up here, like a BART back up to retest the range we broke out of, or we could get a strong sell-off. But we would expect sometime in the near future interaction with this could take place. And then we're going to go like super small here, and I just want to take one, basically saying if this was our top right here, this orange one coming down, and that was our bottom, that's assuming that this is the bottom point. So we don't actually know that yet, but if it's potential, this potential situation could happen where we're looking at it like this, and then we're looking at it like this, and then it ends up selling off to a lower price down here. So the whole thing was invalidated because that wasn't actually the swing low for this move from the top to the bottom here, if this is not in fact the bottom, which it very likely may not be. But we can look at it and see that this is all like looking back at it, obviously hindsight, but you could see we came down here, came up, and then couldn't get above that ring, came down, found some support in these rings. We're getting reactions essentially at the rings, like not perfectly all the time, but you could see it was finding support here and then shoots up and then finds strong resistance right there. But it was essentially finding support as it was moving up, comes down into here. So you're seeing a lot of interaction, so it's potential that was in fact the swing of this move, at least for now. We're seeing some kind of reactions off of it, so it's not unrealistic to think that we could see a reaction out of this position as well, and potentially a push back up to like that 9600 or somewhere around that range. So, and again, that's just potential. You want to keep your eye on it. It's not saying that's going to happen, but it's important to keep both sides in mind, whether you're bearish or bullish, like what potentially could happen. But again, looking at the oscillator here, we're getting that signature from right here. The same signature we had right here is when we kind of bottomed. So when we got down to here, we kind of bottomed and got like a strong move up. Although we did sell off further, that's a 15% move. So if we got potentially like from here somewhere around a 12, 15% move somewhere around there, that puts us back up over 9,000. So again, I think it's more likely if we moved up, we would stay inside these channels. So that's going to put us closer to our target here at like the 8,600 range. But there's no reason to think that we couldn't go up or down from this point in time. Whether you're macro, bullish, or bearish, there's potential for this thing to go in either way. But again, we're just going to stick with the trend. And right now the trend is this series of channels right here. So again, we're at the lower end of the channel. Depending if we break through this and actually come down and test our bottom of our horizontal channel, or if we just get a break up here and retest the top here, we're expecting that channel to hold in the meantime and continue to get respected until it doesn't. So let's keep an eye on this one. At this point in time, with the 4 hour getting ready to close in about 30 minutes, it looks to me like essentially that's a topping out position, but a lot of times we'll come up, break above, come back, retest the line that we broke back through, because this was our support line and it failed, and then we come back, break back through it, find support, and then we can potentially move up. So I wouldn't put it beyond the market for either position at this point in time, move to the upside or to the downside. So we're going to keep a close eye on it and be back with you with regular market updates. If you have any questions or anything, please leave them in the comments. I do appreciate all the support lately. Guys, if you want to share this video as well, it helps to get it out there. I'm trying to grow this channel as fast as possible, reach as many people, and help out and share these indicators as well as the TA. So thanks a lot, guys. That's Crypto Trend Trader looking at Bitcoin, signing off.